All right. Well,
Hello, another week.
Another week.
Week 14, this one. And you may notice that we've got a visitor. And we tried to keep him out and he wouldn't stay out. Actually, it's his van. So
Yeah, I thought it was a fair deal if I was going to let them do
this.
Yeah.
all this to my van. It was should be afforded the right of reply.
That's right.
True. So now we're sitting in comfort and it is pouring with rain outside. So it's kind of good that we'd actually said we'll do it in here. So this is Ben from the Indoor Types, if you want to look up his social channels.
But of course you already knew that.
Yeah.
Most of you do know who he is, let's be honest. So week 14, we did the Gibb River Road, which we blame Ben for that because it was his idea.
Yeah.
And it was one of the reasons why we all wanted to catch up to do it together, to travel that road together, because it can be quite treacherous.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. But it's good to do it. Good to do it as a team.
It was. I think we all benefited from that. I mean, it was my stupid idea in the first place,
Yeah.
but I'm very glad you guys were there. And
We were very glad you were
the same
there.
about
And yeah.
Safety in numbers.
yeah, exactly.
Stupidity.
That's it.
So we started at the Derby end. So kind of came out of Broome, went into Derby, and we stayed at what's the place of the name of the place?
Birdwood
Birdwood
Downs.
Downs. That was a
which is
beautiful
kind of
place to
actually
stay.
technically right at the start of the
Yeah.
Gibb, on
Yeah.
the Gibb.
Yeah.
It's a working cattle station.
Yeah,
The start of the Gibb, and had some amazing peacocks.
peacocks running around. A
Yeah,
white,
a
Including a white peacock
Yeah.
that
Which
did
I've never seen.
did the display for me
Yeah.
before I knew what it was.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what the hell is that?
It took
Yeah.
quite a liking
It's
to
amazing.
me.
It
Yeah,
did.
it
No.
did.
It's only
As
here.
it's only,
Yeah.
it's only a bird. It's not human. It's,
Perhaps that's why.
but it was white, but not albino.
No,
No.
they don't have.
No.
Yeah, the guy confirmed it.
Yeah.
Didn't have pink eyes.
So also while we were in Derby,
Heaps of frogs too. There.
yeah, lots of
Heaps of
frogs.
frogs
The
there.
frogs were
Frogs are
really
cool.
cute,
They're
weren't they?
really nice.
Green frogs too,
Yeah.
so they were beautiful. So also in Derby, we went to the Norvall Art Gallery.
Yep.
That I really liked that, and I liked that the Mark Norvall. You can watch a little video about his life there, and I found that really
It was
interesting.
a very engaging video too. He's a funny.
He's
Yeah.
a funny
Oh, that's right.
character.
Yeah.
And his wife was working behind the counter, so she then told us to go and have a look at these huge sculptures that he's done.
Yeah, there's one right
installations.
next to the caravan park, right in Derby. So if
Yeah.
you ever stay at the caravan park right in Derby, you'll get a good look at that. It's it's amazing to see. It would be great to see at sunset. We were kind of there in the middle of the day, but you get out there and see them at sunset.
Yeah.
It was still great to see it
Yeah.
dark against the
Against
mud
the
flats
bright
and
sky, yeah.
And
yeah.
the blue sky, it looked amazing.
Yeah.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
And I found the Mudflats themselves really interesting because it was just like miles and miles of nothing
Yeah,
but
just dry mud. Yeah.
mud, and
The
then all of
extreme
a sudden
thin-
grass.
Yeah.
Let's not forget home to the biggest tides in the world.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
if not Australia, I think it's 11
Yeah.
metre tides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
quite a drop.
Be
Yeah.
interesting to see when the tide was in, because obviously the tide
Yeah.
was out then, so it would look completely different with the tide.
Yeah.
With the tide in. And the pier, we went along the pier, so that was pretty cool. Saw some people catching catfish
Yeah,
Yeah.
fish with
on
spikes,
there-
got nasty
on there,
spikes.
throwing them back in.
But you had to reel them up a long way because the tide was out. So
Yeah.
you had to come up 3 floors before you could get to them.
Yeah, that's it.
Which kind of wasn't really worth the effort when you
No,
think
they
about
were
them
not.
having to throw them all
They
back
weren't
in.
good eating fish off the Derby Pier.
No.
And I don't eat fish.
And the prison Boab tree, that was pretty interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, it was a giant Boab, but
Yeah, hollow.
hollow inside.
That,
And
As
apparently-
most dogs are.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was a stopping point for people when they were taking the Aboriginal prisoners to the jail, right?
Yes.
In Derby or from Derby?
In Derby, I believe.
So some people say that that's where they kept them. Other people say that didn't happen at all. But anyway, we'll go with it did happen.
Yeah.
That they stopped there for a rest and that they kept them either chained up or inside. So it's pretty sad story.
Yeah, it's a sobering
Good
kind of
part
place.
Yeah.
Good part of history, I think, for us
A dark
to know
past.
those things.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah. And so then we started the Gibb River Road proper.
Yep.
The first bit's okay.
First bit's paved.
First
It was
bit, you're
great.
right.
Yeah, paved,
This
yeah.
is, I don't know what everyone's going
It was
on
paved
about.
almost right through to Windjana, the turn off to Windjana,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Pretty much.
So, and then
Yeah.
it got a bit rough on the drive down to Windjana.
Yeah, the drive to Windjana was not
Yeah,
was not that
that was
great.
pretty rough.
That was,
We had 3 nights at Windjana.
2 nights in Windjana.
2 nights. Yeah,
yeah. So Windjana Gorge itself was really
amazing. Yeah,
quite beautiful.
yeah, beautiful red rocks and freshwater crocs and
Yeah.
plenty.
Nice easy walk into
And
it.
10 degrees cooler than
Yeah.
outside.
Outside the
It
gorge,
was too,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was really
So
cool.
it was very
Walk
relieved.
through that little tunnel.
Yeah.
And suddenly it's like you're in a different ecosystem. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
And you can't swim there because of the crocs, but then you go elsewhere
Well,
and they say the
I
crocs
think
are
just
fine.
you can't swim there because it's a bit manky.
Yeah, it was.
I
The
don't know.
water
Yeah.
was a bit manky. You
Yeah.
probably wouldn't want to swim there.
And rumour had it, while we were there was a salty in residence, and that would add a degree of difficulty to any swimming.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So there may or may not be saltwater crocs in there as well, as the freshwater crocs. Tunnel Creek was a great walk. So again, freshwater crocs in there, and it's completely dark.
Completely dark and black. You had to go in with
inside.
a little head torch on, and yeah. So
And of course, Aid found the
spotted
freshwater
a
croc
couple of
in
crocs
there as
in
well,
there. Yeah.
which was great. I loved that in a
Walking
dark
through the
enclosed
water and-
tunnel with with crocodiles. It was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and a goanna on the other side. The
Oh
monitor
yeah, we
lizard
saw the
there.
monitor lizard outside. That was good, and some really interesting Aboriginal rock
yeah.
art on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, it's great.
So that was
Yeah.
that was good. A long way out though, and I think they've now. Well, after we went through it, they said they closed it for fear of.
There's some cracks or something.
Yeah,
that
cracks.
developed, Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit of
So
a rockfall.
yeah, potential rockfall. So yeah. So find out whether it's open before you go drive out there because it's a pretty long drive over not great road.
Oh.
Road was not ideal,
Yeah.
No.
but compared to what was to come,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
piece of cake.
Yeah, exactly. And so we didn't stop at all the gorges along the way. There are a lot of gorges that you can stop in at. I think on the Gibb River Road. But we stopped at Galvans. That was really nice. There's a rope swing at the end.
Rope swing and a
if you're
little
so
waterfall.
inclined,
Yeah,
the waterfall. That
It was packed though,
that
wasn't
nice.
it? It was
Yeah,
really
was
packed.
that was really busy.
Everything was pretty busy. Yeah.
That's
People
also one of
everywhere.
those ones that was right on the Gibb River Road
Yeah,
itself. So some of the other ones you have to detour
Yeah,
up
quite
increasingly,
significantly.
yeah,
Difficult.
sketchy
Yeah.
roads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
So that
one was
one's-
easy to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could camp there though, so it was just a stop off
Yeah.
sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Bell Gorge was that was one of those ones that was a hard kind of drive in. So we were lucky that Ben was driving us around.
So we did Bell Gorge from Amici, didn't we?
Amici,
So
yeah,
we
we stayed
stayed
at
for a couple of
Amici.
nights at Amici. Had
Which
some
was
reception.
a great little campsite in that the facilities were fantastic, but oh my god, the flies.
The flies, yeah. It was right
Yeah.
next to a bit of
How
a
are the
rubbish
flies
sort of
there?
refuse
I have
recycling
never
depot
seen
thing.
so many flies.
Yeah.
It was an issue.
In one
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
It's a genuine issue. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
that cut short our enjoyment a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Yeah.
that was a belter of a campground because that had
And
in the
some
middle of
beautiful
nowhere.
views too.
Everything you need.
Yeah.
The rock
yeah,
face
at the back of
behind
it was
was
amazing.
But they had water, a camp kitchen,
Yeah.
Optus reception,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
unheard of on the Gibb River Road.
And good showers.
Good
showers,
facilities.
yeah.
Flush toilets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 5-star.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Just-
Just say good camp kitchen.
Just a lot
yeah.
of flies.
Just a lot of flies.
Yeah.
But we did day trip in between. That was
Yeah,
Bell Gorge,
to Bell
wasn't it?
Gorge, which was, and so the road out was a true river crossing. And
Yeah,
it
30
was
k's of.
Yeah.
hell.
It wasn't
Yeah,
too, I don't recall it being that bad.
it wasn't great. I didn't.
No.
Yeah,
But,
I don't think it was great.
So you'd want a 4-wheel drive to go out there.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't do it in your Corolla.
Daihatsu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, for high clearance 4-wheel drive was fine.
Yeah.
3 river crossings, I think. So depending on time of year,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it should be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
And worth the payoff at the end.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely,
it was.
yeah.
The gorge itself was beautiful,
Yeah.
and so you could go to walk into kind of the top part of the gorge, where you could see the waterfall and beautiful kind of rock pool. And
Yeah, you're looking at the top of the falls down, and then as you walk over,
yeah.
you can then get down to the bottom of the falls.
And then it looks like you should not be walking down. You can't actually see where the path goes as you're going down to the actual bottom of the gorge. But there were people swimming down there, so we went, of course, and it was beautiful down there.
Yeah, it was nice.
The waterfall was beautiful. Aid went for a swim. I didn't.
Yeah.
And so then from there we went on to Mount Barnett and Manning Gorge.
Yep. So the first stop at Mount Barnett was lunch, where we came across the chicken burgers.
The best chicken
Well,
burgers.
and their beef burgers
Beef
weren't.
burgers weren't
Yeah.
nothing to
Yeah,
Well,
their
not to be
burgers-
sneezed
not
at.
to be sneezed
Their
at
burgers
either.
were good.
The burgers
Yeah.
generally
Yeah.
were great.
They were the
Yeah.
sort of burger you expect from an outback roadhouse, and then
Yeah.
they were roughly the size of your head
Yeah, yeah.
and
And
delicious.
They're delicious. Yeah, that's right.
They were substantially feed.
Yeah,
Abe
yeah.
was very disappointed because I just about finished my chicken burger,
Yeah, I was-
despite him saying she's only going to eat half of it, if that.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was a good chicken
You
burger.
really put in a good effort.
I did. And so then at Manning Gorge, you can do right in the campground. There's the little watering hole.
Yeah, yeah.
Where you could swim, and
Yeah.
that was really
That was nice.
really nice. There was freshwater crocodile in there, but it leaves you alone.
Yeah.
Well,
There's a couple
left
of
us
crocs
alone.
apparently there, but you don't,
Yeah.
don't bother you. Freshies generally don't bother if you don't bother them. So
Yeah.
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 But you got to cross that to get to the falls.
Yeah, so then you go across that. There's little boats that you can put all your stuff in to carry it across the water, and you kind of have to swim
Plastic
across.
tubs.
Plastic, yeah.
Not boats so
Okay,
much.
well, they're
Yeah, I'm
plastic.
not sure if they're marine design.
yeah. Just
Wasn't there a
Yeah.
deal?
plastic
There was
barrel.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Plastic tubs. They were barrels cut out,
Yeah.
so you put your stuff in, take it across, and then it's quite a long walk.
Yeah, yeah. It was probably
out,
two
and it was hot.
and a bit
It was very
k's, 2.5
hot.
k's, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a waterfall and a gorge at the other end, which
Yeah.
was again really beautiful. No
Yeah.
one there. Maybe 4 other
Yeah, there's a
people
few
when,
people, couple of
when we
people.
got
Not-
there.
not many,
Not
yeah.
many at all. But that was really beautiful. Watering hole. We went for a swim in
Yep.
there. That was
Yeah.
nice.
Yep.
And then our final stop on the Gibb was Ellenbrae.
Yeah.
Where we really just stopped for the scones, let's be honest. That
But we
was
found-
the sum total
but
of our stop there.
We found
was to have
grass.
scones.
Yeah.
The grass, oh my god, because it's very dusty along the Gibb River Road.
Yeah.
And I think we've complained about that before, the dirt.
Yeah. So we
Um,
found grass and we were all. Yeah.
Found grass and scones, and it was game over.
was game
that
over.
was-
That's
so
where we were spending the night.
we stayed, so it was well worth it
Yeah.
to stop there.
Of course,
So,
no grass
nice
where you
campground.
camped, but you know.
No, the dust bowl where you can.
Dust
When-
bowl where you
when
can,
you eat the
but-
scones, there's
Yeah, it's
grass.
got
So
this
it
grass.
lures you in.
Yeah,
It's
with the
not
promise
sense.
of grass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. But that was a nice spot.
Yeah,
That
it was a good
really-
spot.
That was really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, Ellenbrae was one of those places that I don't think we expected to stop, and
Yeah.
we did get beguiled by
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
the lure
grass.
of turf.
It
Yeah.
looked so beautiful that we couldn't help ourselves.
Yeah.
But stop there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose one of the challenging things about the Gibb is that we saw two very distinct halves of it,
Yeah.
but depending on when other people do it, they will have a very different experience because it is so variable and they grade
Yeah.
it 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
So it's not. There's no point watching this in
And thinking.
6
yeah.
weeks' time and thinking it'll be the same road because it won't.
It
be.
won't be.
Yeah.
So the,
Yeah.
the key there, I think, is always that you go into the information centre in Derby
Derby
or
or
in
Kununurra.
or Windham and just ask them what
Yeah.
it's like. And you're constantly asking other travellers, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we heard everything from "don't do it, it's just going to wreck your car" to it was easy, it was fine.
Yeah.
So
I suppose on that note, between we'll call it 3 vehicles, so a van, their van, this van, and my car, we suffered. I had a microwave rattle loose a little bit. I lost a couple of drawer tabs.
Yeah.
You lost a headlight surround somewhere
Yeah.
along the way.
Yeah. Rocket.
I lost-
Up and that. Yeah.
Yeah, I lost an antenna. So it's a lot of it's cosmetic stuff. We
yeah,
didn't have blown
relatively
tyres.
mild.
Yeah.
We saw lots of people who did have serious issues. So
Yeah.
we saw a brand new Land Rover that had blown 2 shocks. We saw
Yeah.
quite a few cars blown tyres and what
Yeah.
have you. So it is a risk, it is real, but we were, despite all appearances to the contrary, relatively sensible, and we drove
Yeah.
Yeah.
an appropriate speed and we didn't have
Yeah.
serious problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you behave yourself, you'll be fine, and if you want to drive like a peanut, then
Yeah. You'll wear
bring
it.
extra tyres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
shockers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's certainly plenty of people on the Gibb going past, and
Yeah.
people stop and just make sure you're okay. And so, I mean, that said, I would recommend that you have your CB radio
As a minimum.
as a
as a
minimum,
minimum.
so that you have got something you can radio for help if you need to.
Yeah.
We came across quite a few people that didn't have anything.
Yeah.
There's
So-
a couple of fun facts about the Gibb. It's one thing to go, it's remote, but the fact is there is next to no mobile reception
Yep.
for 600 kilometres.
Yeah.
if you are in a van, you will struggle to find somewhere to dump your toilet because there's no dump point. So you have to get a little bit creative with that and dig a hole and do the right thing. Water, oddly, was plentiful all the way along it.
Yeah.
So I had a minor panic attack and thought we'd need water. So went in water preservation mode, but there were 3 or 4 different points where we felt as much water as we wanted.
Yeah.
And diesel was okay too.
Diesel was okay, and food was okay. Like
there were
a couple of roadhouses where you could get you could buy stuff. I wouldn't rely on it. You'd take your stuff with you, but
and you pay through the nose for it.
Yeah.
But as you would out there. You know,
you could get Milo on the road if you needed it.
Well, more importantly, you could get ice at Mount Barnett, but for a pretty penny. But fair enough, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and you could also get milkshakes at Eminchi Roadhouse.
If you ran the gauntlet of the
Surly.
Surly. Service staff.
Yeah.
Service is using the term advisedly.
The Surly stuff. What did you guys think of the Gibb? Because, I was really just a passenger, but you
hear a lot of, there's the Gibb's fine, the Gibb's a nightmare, it's torn up, it's the worst it's ever been, it'll wreck your car, it'll wreck your van, but overall my impression was, up to Windjana, obviously, a main road.
Like Maroondah Highway.
That's it. Beyond that, it got just a little corrugated and a little rough, up until about 20 k's short of Ellenbrae. And then the irony there was we actually saw a grader. So I thought, oh, look, it's been not too bad, but it's about to get better. Oh, no.
No, it turned out he was heading off in the opposite direction of the trouble.
He had just had scones at Ellenbrae, and then he decided, this is too hard, I don't know what to do here.
He was not part of the solution at all. He was part of the problem.
Yeah, he was out of there. So, at that point, from there until when you cross Pentecost River, it was all pretty rough going.
Yeah, it was.
Pretty deep corrugation, the rocks, and
And the Pentecost was pretty low when we crossed. So we literally were able to
walk through it. It was probably only at its deepest point. It was probably I don't know, maybe 30 centimetres deep. Not even.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a challenge to drive across.
No,
unless you rolled in there in neutral.
Unless you roll in there in neutral after putting your car into full high.
Just going to throw that one out there.
Forget to put it in gear and wonder why is this not moving? Oh, that's right, I'm in neutral.
Yeah, so we did get stuck in there.
The best laid plans.
Yeah. And
so from there we just pushed on the next day, didn't we? And got to
Parry Creek.
Parry Creek Farm, where we up toward Wyndham, where we ended. So we got off the Gibb, and we did drive past at Quest Road, and
but
Home Valley.
Then backtracked.
Yeah, but we did go back
to there.
and backtrack to there. So we did a day.
But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
That wasn't in the rehearsal, I think.
It was in the rehearsal. It was in week 14. Stick to the script.
Not in week 14.
Okay. So it is on the Gibb Road, so it's worth a mention.
It is worth a mention. Definitely worth a mention. Yeah. And people may wonder why we didn't go there. But so we did go there, and we will let you know about it. Okay. So and that's it. End of week.
Thank you very much, Ben, for joining us.
Yes.
And for allowing us to shoot this in your...
in the Tin Palace.
The Tin Palace, yes. Which everyone had a tour of last week.
Yeah, which you saw last week. And we're quite comfortable in here, so we might be doing future videos from here.
Yeah, this is all nice. It works well.
Let's wait until you get the invoice for this one.
Studio
Please start
fees.
writing checks your body card cash.
That's right.
Studio fees. All right, until next week.
Adios. Cheers.
See you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.